Patrick, off air, we were talking a little bit that you haven't spoken about this in the public setting before?
No, I haven't. No, I've spoken with it in, I think, small groups of very different people. When I got out of the Army, I went to school in a private liberal arts college, a Quaker college, that had a giant sign in front of their little lounge area. It said, war is not the answer, and which at the time, I sort of not got offended by, but it sort of kind of made me hold my breath a little bit, like how accepting, will people be here? And as a 25-year-old talking to 18-year-old fellow students, that just, the first question out of your mouth is, well, did you kill anyone? And sort of talking from that point, down to a point that I kind of wanted to make, to kind of, but yeah, talking with them, I've talked with rooms full of communists about my experiences, but yeah, never in quite the public sphere like this. So, yeah, I definitely appreciate the opportunity.
Well, so do we. And for those folks who know the Dr. Joe Show, we talk about the I am approach, how, people are always doing the best they can. It's your current maximum potential to change in the very next second to another best you can. And I think one of the most difficult things to comprehend in the I am is war. And what it really means. How can countries be at an I am and be at war? But it is part of their I am. If they don't like it, they can change it. How do you understand war now?
Yeah, from the American's perspective, I think I understand war through, I guess I would put it the same way I understand our, love of hamburgers. We are so detached from how a hamburger is made. So, we have people that cringe at hunters, for their way of life, that go off to, a fast food chain in the same breath. So I think from an American's perspective, there's been a detachment of war, the spectacle, versus war, the consequence. I don't know. Now, from the quote-unquote other side, war is a desperate last act to somehow cling to a world that doesn't want them around, is, I guess, what I would say. This isn't an original thought of mine, but it has been suggested to compare sort of the belief system or the ideology that an American soldier goes into war with. And yes, we're fed, for your country, these colors don't run, bringing freedom to the world. But when it really gets down to it, I mean, I think when we think about what America represents, the sort of commodityism that we're really fighting for, because we know we're all comfortable over here or whatever. And so what's really at risk for us if we lose versus the local national who is picking up a 40-year-old assault rifle and aiming it at an American convoy, knowing that they're about to get blown out of the, dust for it. And why do they do that? What is at stake for them? And it's so much more when you get down to it. And they have so much more that they need to fight for, that the American soldier doesn't need to fight for when it comes down to it. So I guess that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you then use these experiences, and we're going to go deeper into them, in your theater and your acting now? Because just so people know, full disclosure, I met Patrick just about a week ago or so, maybe even less, watching him at Stella Adler School of Drama in his graduating performance, and it was brilliant. But you played a character that was a particular type of person, Right? You want to just describe that just for a moment?
Yeah, well, so the play centered around two couples, and this is a contemporary play. Two couples, a conservative couple and a liberal couple, and through some situations, basically, they end up having to come together because there is a intravenous baby that has been swapped, and so one couple is raising the other couple's child, essentially.
Right.
And it's about coming to terms with, these sort of American archetypes. And I played the conservative male, a redneck from Ohio, essentially. So yeah, I don't, my experience as it relates to my work as an actor, they're inseparable. From the school I went to, Stella Adler Studio of Acting, their mission statement is growth as an actor and growth as a human being are synonymous. So in order to grow and to really bring the respect to the craft that an actor needs, you need to grow as a human, and you need to empathize with people that are not you, and you need to be able to bring truth to their story. My experiences in the Army surely exposed me to a lot of different people, people that I served with. I mean, my gosh, there is no stereotype of the American soldier. There are video game nerds just as much as there are, football stars and everything in between, and men and women, and all sorts of gender identities and sexual identities. Anything under the sun is in a uniform right now. So that was an aspect, the local nationals that we interacted with, I did not know any of their language, and, building a rapport based on hand signs and rudimentary, communication, finding the humanity in there and finding the very similar, facial expressions and hand gestures and everything. And even in my enemy, I had to empathize with my quote-unquote enemy. I felt like I deserved being on the battlefield. I guess that's the best way I could describe it.
You deserved being on the battlefield? What do you mean?
Yeah, that was a real stream of consciousness thing just there. I think what I meant was, what I was talking about earlier, like that it wasn't just a video game.
Right.
That, because, back then I reasoned it that, well, he or she, made the decision to fight for their country on this battlefield, and so did I. Mm-hmm. And so I have to start with that sort of mutual respect about this person, that they're showing up with a lot less support than I'm showing up with. And if I don't respect that, I mean, practically, if I don't respect that, you're kind of dead. Mm-hmm. But I think if I didn't respect that, then I would feel like an animal out there.
But I think that's a powerful insight that I don't think many people have considered. Yeah. The mutuality of being in the armed forces as a soldier on both sides, both fighting for something you believe in.
Yeah, I think it was a lot easier to find that when we had, uniformed enemies, when we had people that looked like us that were on the other side, that were fighting for similar reasons. But I think when we started getting into, counterinsurgency, if you will, particularly Vietnam and through this war, that I think it became easier to sort of dehumanize and detach ourselves from these people that, very, not unlike, in the Revolutionary War era where, we celebrate our patriots for fighting like the indigenous people fought and going against the rules of war, and the British officers were looking down at us like, how dare we, break these time-honored traditions of, not shooting officers and that sort of thing. And it's really flipped its script to where now we're the people that, or at least a lot of us believe that, these savages are just, running amok and just can't play with everyone else nicely or something.
This is really a critical insight, because I truly believe that the only way a human being can hurt another human being is to dehumanize them first. And that sounds, sinister, but the other side of it is it shows how much we really have the capacity to care for each other. The only way we can hurt someone is to make them not human. What does that really say about us as human beings? And if we can tap into that commonality, tap into that reality that we actually really do care about other humans, let's get rid of these groups, the in-group and the out-group.
Yeah, absolutely. That would definitely be the dream.
Yeah, I want to make that dream a reality.
Yeah, I mean, on that point, this is a bit of a digression, but this is something that has come up a lot with us, is in that search to break down these barriers and break down these groups. I know that there's been a bit of a calling to sort of jump right to that, especially in this post-2020 political ground. But I do want to say, just from my personal opinion, that we have some things to make up for before we are on that equal footing where no one is better than the other one, and I think that to skip over that and, just saying like injecting critical race theory in schools, I think is a great way to bring that equality eventually. But I think that we have, as white people, that we have some ground to be accountable for before we kind of reach the equal footing with everyone else. But
yeah, I think that's perfectly fair.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a free ride. Is what I'm saying. The IM is not a free ride. You are held responsible. That is one of the tenets of the IM.
I like that.
Just because it's the best you can do doesn't mean you're not going to be held responsible for it, because you control no one, you influence everyone. Everything you do has an impact on somebody else. It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. And that's why you are responsible, not a free ride. And we don't have a free ride either here at our Dr. Joe show. We hold ourselves accountable to our sponsors, who generously share their IM with us. So let's take a break. We'll take a break for our next commercial, and we'll be right back to talk with the Dr. Joe show.
Stretch the kindness, rush with madness. Is it sadness or just a show that